The kids' old IKEA desk, and they wanted me to get a new one, and I looked around and I couldn't find one that fit in the small space we had, so I'm gonna build a new top for it and kind of clean it up and repaint it. It's got a lot of holes, scratches, dings, dents, and some penises. So they specifically asked me to get rid of the penises now that they're older. What we did was take it apart, and I used my impact driver, a mallet, and a screwdriver. And I took special care in trying to keep track of all the pieces, so I put them into a Ziploc bag to save them for later. So this is the top of the desk. This is the main part that I'm going to be rebuilding. I'm going to be using some walnut wood to make a new top for this. Here is the desk fully disassembled and laid out on the table so that I can see all the pieces. And now I'm going to clean off all the pieces that I think I'm going to reuse so that I could sand them and paint them. First I'm going to prime them, then I'm going to paint them a matte black. Here is the side panel. This acts as a leg on one side, and I went ahead and sprayed it with primer, and then I filled any of the little dings and dents with some wood filler. Now I'm going to go ahead and sand this down and spray it black. I sent a couple walnut boards through the planer, and then after that I squared them up on the table saw because I don't have a joiner. After that, I chopped them up into manageable pieces on my floor miter saw. So I ripped down a bunch of pieces of walnut, and I'm gonna glue them together, kind of like this. Once everything was glued up, I very safely cut it to length on my table saw. And then I spent the rest of my life sanding it smooth. There were quite a bit of bug trails, little holes that needed to be filled, so I filled those with some epoxy mixed with some of the sawdust. After that, I used a dull wood chisel to scrape it smooth. I can't find my card scraper, so I'm just going to sand this down to get rid of the epoxy using 120, and then I'm going to go to 220. After that, I'm going to wet the wood to raise the grain and then sand it again to 220. I used my palm router and a chamfer bit to put a chamfer on the top and the bottom of the top. That's confusing. I was wanting to put the finish on it today, but I had a little chip out. I tried to be really careful, but I just hit that and it chipped out. So I gotta re-glue that and wait for it to dry, and then wet it down and then sand it one more time. Here's me going through the process of blowing it off really good to get all the sawdust off of there. And then I'm going to spray it down with some water so that the wood grain pops up. You can see it popping up right here at the end, and it kind of gives you a preview of what the finished top will look like with finish on it. I got it all marked up for where I need to drill some holes for the mounting hardware, and then I drilled the holes at the drill press. Now once the hardware was mounted, it was time to put the finish on it. I used half part mineral spirits and half part polyurethane fast drying clear satin. I applied this in very small, thin coats so that I could build up a lot of layers of protection. Every couple of coats I did sand it down with a wood block with some 400 grit sandpaper. Here you can see me putting on the final coat on the top and bottom. There it is, all nice and shiny. There are some smooth spots, I think, from the epoxy and sanding to fill the holes. Made it not the wood texture. You could kind of see it, like right there. It's like super smooth. I put like a lot of coats on, and it still did not get all the way super smooth. Once everything was complete, it was time to assemble the desk. Now this was kind of tricky, and I had to put it together and take it apart several times because I did not remember how it went together. But I finally figured it out and put it together. Guess I wasn't recording, but there is the track. I screwed it on, and it did not need nails because it has a little part that holds the bottom on. The drawer was pretty tricky to figure out how to get in, but once I figured it out, it went in pretty easily. Here is the finished product. I went ahead and reused the front of the drawer, even though it was scratched up. I probably should have put some filler in it, but I didn't think it was that bad. But overall, I think it turned out pretty great. So thanks for watching.